Welcome back to Contract Lancer, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be discussing certifications, specifically Microsoft certifications. In this one, we're going to be discussing Microsoft certifications that you can apply for and you can exam for to help your resume. So they are more or less related to programming. Most of them are. Some of them are a little bit more further into the actual Azure Microsoft stack, but you could still use them to improve your resume and to break into that kind of market. I will also give you the average salary for each one that is expected if you follow that kind of technology path. So hopefully this will help you out to make your decision in the future if you decide to take one of these certifications and what to expect. Now, I'm a developer, so I'm going to be very biased towards development related certifications, as also those will be the ones that I have the most knowledge of. So you will notice that. So without further ado, I'm going to give you the please like and subscribe thing I have to say every time. And then I'm going to cut away to my like and subscribe thing again. And then you'll get the content. So, I know what I'm doing. I'm doing it on purpose. Okay. Hey, everybody. So we're going to get started with Azure Solutions. Here, this is the Microsoft Azure is their cloud technology. And a lot of their certifications are going to be associated with this platform. Also, a lot of jobs are starting to move into the new cloud technology. So this has something to do with Azure. It is the alternative to AWS, Amazon Web Services, as another cloud competitor. They do not have the bigger market share Amazon does, but because a lot of the technologies that a lot of companies use are Microsoft technologies, and they have been very loyal to Microsoft, those technologies are much more compatible with Azure in theory, and also they are typically able to get better deals with Microsoft. There's a lot of stuff that goes in the background when it comes to Microsoft technology, especially with corporations that already have the technology embedded in their business plan. So that's why it's an appealing cloud solution, and the certifications are also very appealing and have a very high salary associated with them. And these are the ones that I've chosen. I believe these are the ones that you're gonna see in the future to have more and more value, because they have to do with the trends, market trends being, automation, machine learning, cloud specific stuff, and things that as a software developer, I'm looking forward to the future, because I'm going to be working in those industries as they are more prevalent, as they become more prevalent. Cloud being the enabler of these industries, because they kind of combine them all. So I'm just going to get started on the first one, which is the Azure Solutions Architect. So what this is basically you can architect the cloud, you architect their cloud service. So you are able to create an enterprise level for some corporation if they decide to do it, or you can maintain it. Either way, you are expected to work with the Azure cloud system, and you can architect it. So if you're a software developer, you can architect something like you will know all three tiers: the front end, the back end, and the database. That's usually 3-tier architecture right there. This is with the actual cloud architecture, so you will have to know how to do that in their platform. And to get this particular certification, this is the most expensive one, by the way, from what I've seen. So you need to do 2 exams. The 2 exams are AZ303, which is $165, and you need to do AZ304, which is another $165 test. So this is the most expensive exam, but the salary reflects how much demand there is. So I'm going to be using PayScale. If you use any other website, they're going to be about the same. So I'm just going to use PayScale here. In this case, I think in one of these cases I don't have PayScale, but whatever. The average for someone with this certification, if you go into being a Microsoft Azure architect, is 120. I don't think that's the case. I think it is much higher, because you can definitely get paid more as an architect, as a software developer, or I guess it depends where you live too. So I guess this is the median average. It doesn't really the median average of the US entirely, so I guess that makes sense. But you could easily reach the 155K level with an architect certification. That's just from my experience. I personally do not have these certifications, none of these, but I do have the Microsoft MCSA and the MCSD certification, along with the Security Plus one. They don't help that much for my particular case, but they're nice to have for my resume. I usually use more of my experiences than my certifications in my case, but if you need something to pad your resume with, something to beat the competition with, then I would go for these certifications. So I'm going to move on to the Azure AI Fundamentals. I think this is another important one since you are using machine learning and the AI that the solution architect, the solution Azure Solutions gives you. And this only requires one test. So in this one test, it's 99 USD, and it doesn't look like the hardest test in the world. I think it's just memorizing a bunch of stuff, and it's not as hard as the solutions architect exam. I can tell you that much now, because there's only one exam and it's just the fundamentals of it. So typically the certifications that are fundamentals are more easier than the more specific ones. That's just my opinion on this, but that's what I've seen. Here's the developer one, I guess. So if you want to go into Azure Developer, to be an Azure developer, to develop in the Azure Cloud Solution, then this would be your certification. So this would be closer to someone like myself. I am a software engineer, I am a developer, and I would probably go for this one that is most closely associated to my current experience. Although personally I like the cloud one better. I think that would help me out more, but to stay in line with what I know, this one would be the closest to what I would like. And in this case, it's 165 USD. So when it comes to this is basically just another software engineer. So you'd be making around 90K, if not more. I could tell you for a fact that even without these certifications, if you're just a software engineer, you could be making a lot more. I don't think these numbers are that accurate. I don't even have the certification. So if you do have the certification and have the experience, then you are expected to have a much higher salary than I would think whatever this median is. So I don't think this is a very good representation of what the amount you can get is, but we're just assuming that you don't have experience. I think that you could easily get 88K or whatever with very little experience with this certification. The next one is security engineer. So the security engineer does not have much to do with programming. I just thought I'd throw it in here because security is a big industry. If you come from a network background or you come from a cybersecurity background specifically, then this one is probably the one for you. If you're gonna move into the cloud stuff, you're gonna move into Microsoft technology, then I would recommend this one. And in this case, I couldn't find the pay scale one, but it's 126K. And that sounds more in line with the average of cybersecurity salaries. So $126,000 is pretty good for this certification, but it is not a development one. I will warn you that. Data scientist is another one that's becoming more and more popular. You're seeing more data scientist roles, so I thought I threw this in here. It's another 165 USD test, and the average salary of data science is 96K. I would think it's about 100K, but I don't think these numbers are the most accurate numbers, but it's close enough. Your mileage will vary. And I think that's it. So my biggest gripe, or my biggest opinion about all of this is you have to compare whatever technologies that you already know with the technologies you want to get into, and also the market. So AWS has the biggest market right now. Microsoft does not, but Microsoft has a lot of loyal big companies. So you have to do that balancing act. I, for one, would choose Microsoft certifications over AWS because I'm a Microsoft guy. I'm a C# developer. I develop using Microsoft technologies. I've been doing it for all my career, basically. But I would also not hesitate to go into AWS if the job calls for it, because there is more opportunity out there with AWS than there is with Microsoft Solutions. However, since I do not have any of these certifications, I cannot tell you my own experience what they will actually help you in the interview or even getting your resume looked at. I think they will, because even with my certifications that are not any of these, I have an MCSA, MCSD. They've helped me get eyes on my resume, eyes on my my profile on LinkedIn and stuff. So they're not bad to have. I will also suggest that if you could afford learning one of these, it doesn't matter which one, they will help you greatly, especially if you're just starting out. If you want to be a developer, if you're going to the contracting freelancing, then my recommendation would be to get this one, the developing solutions for Microsoft Azure. I will also bring up one more thing. Some of these have associate in the end of it. It doesn't matter unless the job requires you to be the professional or the expert one. You don't really need to go that far into it. You're gonna see this more when I make the AWS video, that they have, their levels of associate and they have their professional. Here it's either associate, or they don't have either it's associate to expert or something like that. So if you get an associate certification, is better than nothing. And honestly, I think that's really all you need. Apart from this, there's nothing really I could add. All this was my opinion anyway. And and I believe that getting any certification at any level will help you greatly with your resume if you're going into that tech stack. As a final note, if you are a developer like myself, I would go for the developer certification one. So I would go for this one. If you want to go more into the cloud solution, you want to go deeper into the Azure technology itself, then I would go for the solutions architect. And if you're going into the machine learning AI route, they have the AI Fundamentals one, and I think they have the data scientist one. Yeah, so either one of those two will be good for you. If you are a data scientist, then obviously you want the data scientist one. But if you don't know, then getting the fundamental is probably the best one for you in case you want to switch up. You didn't spend that much money, and it is probably the easier of all the tests here. So that is my opinion on it, and I'll do a proper outro when I make myself bigger. So I'll see you in a second. Welcome back. That was my little certification overview advice. I believe that Microsoft Azure's cloud technology is going to be the thing that's going to help you out with your job. It's going to be the thing of the future. A lot of companies have gravitated towards moving their infrastructure to the cloud, and those that moved it to Microsoft will be looking at their certifications that are geared towards Azure Solutions. And those are the certifications that I see as being much more trendy for the future. So for AI and data scientists, that's for machine learning. That's where automation comes in. For the actual cloud itself, it's the solutions architect. And for the developer, you have the developer associate one. And I believe that's it. Next video, we'll be talking about AWS certifications. And I hope that you enjoyed this one. Let me know if you want anything else, any other certifications that you have any questions on, maybe advice on, how to study for one or something like that. I don't know. I haven't decided what I'm going to do after the AWS one. So if you have any opinions, anything you want to ask, just ask me. I'm right here. I'm right here for you. I don't know how to end these half the time, so I'm going to end it right here. Please like, subscribe, click the bell, all that stuff. And I'll see you on the next video. Contract Lancer out.